action produces information. Also, action produces entropy. It produces randomness. And randomness, like volatility, is where you make your money.
What's a crypto lawyer doing with this meetup social event that's become so huge?
I grew up with a lot of social anxiety and with a speech impediment. The way I addressed both was, rather than go hide in a corner, I went to the opposite extreme, which is organizing events and forcing myself on stage. And what you're seeing now with Tech Tuesdays, you're in an environment that's curated and optimized for action takers. You can't argue with the full house. You can't argue with the way that people look. And I'm creating actual facts, and facts win. People come up and they tell me they found their partner there. They found their investor there. There's a lot of money being made in that room.
How would you describe Dubai?
This is a meritocracy, and if you're consistent about delivering results, you'll get noticed. Dubai is for doers. This is a builder's paradise. You build yourself and you build your business and you build your relationships, and you get to keep a good chunk of what you build.
Talking about ADHD.
Okay.
Is it a bug or a feature?
It happened at a point where it wasn't widely known. It manifested itself as, Gordon can't focus, or he's not motivated, or all this other stuff. And so I got all this negative messaging growing up. Huge amounts of pain and focus and adrenaline burnout and cortisol. And I brute forced it through, but I brute forced it through in a way that exacted a toll. What's good about ADHD is audaciousness. It's bravery, saying what's on your mind and not having fear. You need to have it diagnosed, you need to have it treated, you need to be gentle with yourself, but you need to maintain responsibility for your life. Whatever happens, you are responsible for you. No one's coming to save you.
10 years from now, Gordon, where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing?
I want more and better of what we're doing now. I want to stay on the same track and keep on pushing it. I want to be involved in more projects that make the world a better place. I have 3 standards for any project I'm involved in. It needs to make a ton of money, it needs to make a ton of cool, it makes the world a ton better place.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is...
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Gordon Einstein, the crypto attorney, technologist, and enterprise strategist. You are the co-founder of CryptoLaw Partners and have spent the last decade guiding startups, enterprises, exchanges, and DAOs through the legal and regulatory crypto landscape. In 2014, you were captivated by Bitcoin and the philosophy behind it, and quickly realized that while blockchain could solve many of the inefficiencies of traditional finance, it lacked a coherent legal framework to support real-world adoption. Since then, you've guided early-stage crypto ventures through complex compliance and regulatory challenges while serving as a trusted advisor to governments and businesses worldwide. You're also the founder of Dubai Tech Tuesdays, a best-in-class weekly business and technology networking event that brings together leading visionaries, builders, and innovators operating in the UAE. You ultimately believe that crypto isn't just about money, it's about freedom, transparency, and rethinking the way we humans organize and define ourselves. Gordon, welcome to London Real in Dubai.
Brian, I'm honored to be on the show, and what an intro.
What a man. So there you go. Look, I want to jump in, and I want to start with what I witnessed last night. I was at this beautiful restaurant called Bel Canto near the Dubai Opera House.
Yes.
There were 300 plus people there in this incredible environment where I guess people were networking, but they were more just kind of hanging out and enjoying themselves. There were things happening on stage and people talking about it. There were some high-level local Emiratis that you were honoring. There was tech people. There was a women's chess club that was there. And everyone's dressed up and really enjoying themselves. And I'll be honest with you, I've never seen anything like that in London or New York City or anywhere else.
Really?
I haven't. Not that vibe.
Okay.
And there were people I met there in the real estate business, and there were other people in other businesses, and they're like, we actually come here because it's one of the few events where there's all these different types of people, Europeans and Russians and Ukrainians, and they're all here, and it's one of the better even events, not just tech events. And I've been to maybe 6 of them at this point. I know you've been doing 43 in a row, 42?
42 was last night.
42.
But we had the next 2 on calendar already.
Okay.
So yeah.
I don't think you've ever missed one.
No.
You know, what's a crypto lawyer doing with this, meetup social event, that's become so huge? Can you just walk us through what the ethos is, why you, and how do you continue doing this tireless effort?
Okay, so I'm going to go deep. Okay.
Let's go deep.
So
That's why we're here.
Of course,
London Real.
and I'm a big fan. I've seen your shows for a long time, and it's kind of a surreal moment to be here with you in an interview context. So
Amazing.
I'm going to show this to my mom, who's actually visiting from Los Angeles.
Oh, very cool.
She'll be excited to see it. Okay, why do this in the first place? Okay, so I've just a little personal stuff. So I grew up with a lot of social anxiety and with a speech impediment. And the way I addressed both was, rather than go hide in a corner, I went to the opposite extreme, which is organizing events and forcing myself on stage. It was like a big overcompensation thing. And part of the idea there was I would just rub that nerve to oblivion so that there was no longer a sensitive point. And so I've been, I kind of got this strategy later, like in my 30s or something, but I started hosting events in Los Angeles. I had a group called Happy Hour Mafia. And we used to do different, every Fridays or every Thursdays, once per week, we'd do an event. And it was always supporting charity. And it's a lot easier to talk to people if you're the host. You're not, if there's a cluster of people, you have a good reason to approach them. You can say, hey, walk up to them and say, hey, are you having a good time? How you doing? So that was my first experience putting events together. And then we can talk about this, when I switched back into the practice of law because of crypto and blockchain, it became necessary for me to work on my public speaking skills because I needed to advocate on behalf of this new kind of law. And so I would globetrot around the world on stage, emceeing, giving presentations, doing, and you can see this all on YouTube. I have a long track record. And so I had to get over the speaking impediment. And then when I came to Dubai 4 years ago, Dubai is a place where if you're bold and ethical and consistent, you can do well. And if you aren't those things, you may do well for a minute, but then you'll have issues. But I was very blessed in that when I came here 4 years ago, within a week I was on stage, working, helping people with their events, emceeing, and I just volunteered. I don't charge. I'm a lawyer, right? I don't need to charge to help with this stuff. I just help. I've helped this community so much and built such a nice network from volunteering and just helping people out and being on stage just because I love it. And so past few years, I started organizing my own things, like these occasional lunches, crypto lunches or iftars. I've done a bunch of crypto iftars. But this last summer I was here, my lovely wife, who we found out we were pregnant. And so the traveling was kind of a little bit lower. And Dubai in the summer is a little challenging, but we kind of looked at each other and said, let's start something new. So on July 2nd, 2024, we did Dubai Tech Tuesdays. I figured I'd try it. We were at Jador, which unfortunately is closed since that time, but very nice management. Just started it, and it was successful, right in the middle of summer. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I'm a big believer in taking action. Like I always say, action is the killer app. More than thinking, more than ChatGPT, more than whatever, you need to take action. You need to be consistent with your action. That's the next stage of it, right? Because an action one time doesn't mean anything. You have to keep on doing. So I'm a big believer in iterating quickly, being consistent and iterating very fast. Like you don't go to the gym once. You have to keep on doing it and be consistent with it, or diet or whatever. So I knew that the first ones would not be that great, and they're actually okay. But I guess I'm a little bit self-critical. But every week we make it a little bit better. And what you're seeing now that we're rounding up in our 40s is the result of a lot of work and a lot of improvement. So the format has been honed, the community's been honed, the venue has been honed, the people we let in have been honed, the people we decide not to invite in has been honed. It's been an experience, and we're very happy that you're joining us. And there's a whole philosophy behind it we can get into, but the short. I was actually a little bit surprised by what you said, because in my mind it's a New York style networking event transplanted to Dubai, or New York or Berlin style, which are my favorite cities. I'm a kind of a Berlin baby, right? So that idea of having a hip but not obnoxious tech business gathering with a certain New York dress code and savoir faire, but having it here, not a crypto bro thing, not a stiff event where that's not my thing. That's not my style, and I don't think maybe it's not yours either. But it's sort of like formal enough that good people come and business happens. There's a dress code. People dress nicely. The ladies are all in cocktail outfits or business attires. Everyone dresses up, but it's not stiff, right? And we bring in a lot of elements, and it's like a goulash.
No, I'd say it's closer to New York than anything else.
Yes.
But also in New York, I don't think you'd have that kind of interaction, because that only, I think, happens in Dubai, where people want to help each other, and everyone feels like maybe they're in a similar boat, and things actually happen. That's what I maybe remember.
I think that's a perceptive comment. So, right, Dubai. I mean, you always think of New York as like the immigrant city, but Dubai is the immigrant emirate, or UAE is the immigrant country. I mean, we're 80 or 90% expatriates here. And it's Switzerland-like in the sense that wherever you're from, whatever your local beef is, you're supposed to leave it at the door or leave it at customs. And here you're supposed to at least be polite to each other and ideally do business with each other. And there's pros and cons to that. As a politically aware person, sometimes I feel a little bit of internal tension. But I really like their ethic. And I think maybe Switzerland is straight from that ethic. The UAE has kept that ethic. And there's something golden about it. So when you get all these different religions and all these different nationalities and all these men and women, everything in a room having fun, being productive, it's cool. And you're right. New York has a little bit of a biting edge to it. I don't really mind it so much because I have a little bit of a biting edge, and I kind of got that little New York thing, but that doesn't necessarily fly with everyone. Some people are just very nice and they're not from that culture. So we keep it gentle. It's a very family environment. We're up there, my son is 3 months old and he was there yesterday. So it's hard to have a biting culture when you have a 3-month-old baby walking around or being carried around.
Well, I want to go deeper on the UAE and what you see here as a country, as a culture for sure. But just like to finish up with last night, like the vibe of the event is important to address, like what you're trying to create there. And so what I noticed is, first of all, you want to make sure everybody introduces themselves, everyone feels welcome to express who they are, even if they're resisting you, so you walk in the mic and everyone interested. Everyone's dressed up, and I'm wondering why you do that. There's at least 50-50 men, women. Sometimes it seems like more women, and the women sometimes come from fashion or the chess club or whatever, and they're in the cocktail dresses, and it forces us guys to really step up our game. And it's just a really gives a little bit of electric vibe. It's fun. You have someone on the stage to talk, but everyone has to be silent for the talk, and it's just kind of dynamic. So it's not stuffy, but also there's always things happen. I always meet some interesting people there. So
perceptive comment. So it's all by experiment and it's all by design, and both things are true at once. It's all by experiment and it's all by design. Okay, I knew from the beginning, well, I'll take each element. Okay, why have people dress up? Some people complained. Some people get turned away and they get annoyed. Well, it's not Crypto Tuesdays, it's Tech Tuesdays. It's a tech and business event. Okay, we're in Dubai. This is in some ways a traditional culture. And why are you here unless you want to enjoy the traditional culture? We want to have an environment where it's not just the usual suspects, but it's a tech event, but it's heavy female population in the group, like you notice. That's unusual. There's a ton of very successful businesswomen here, and they shy away from events where they're not treated correctly. So I'm intentionally creating, and my wife and I and Siam are intentionally creating a very female-safe environment without overdoing it. You know, because you can go too far the other direction also, and then it becomes oppressive in its own way. We thread the needle very carefully. The dress code, it's a chance to glam up.
Yeah.
You know, it is an opportunity. You dress very well. You've made a point of it, and you've evolved your style over time. You know, you aren't your suit, but your suit communicates something, and it has you act a certain way when you're wearing it, and people interact with you in a certain way when you're wearing it, even though it's obviously not your skin. Right, you know, we're all the same people underneath, but it communicates a certain idea. It's a professional event. We're not there getting drunk. We're not there having a wild party. We're there in an environment that's a little bit conservative enough that people can come, and if they're normally nervous about a tech or business event or a large gathering, they know it's safe within a certain way. And as you pointed out, it's a lot of Emiratis there. It's a lot of Arabs there. It's a lot of Muslims there. Okay, you know, and you know, it needs to be a place where people feel comfortable drinking or not drinking. And not feeling awkward about that. We have a large contingent that doesn't drink alcohol, and it's fine. They feel comfortable. You know, you saw the honor table at the front with all the local personages, I guess, for lack of a better word. So it's all a careful dance. And part of that dance is, you know, or it's all a carefully prepared dish. And part of that dish is removing certain ingredients. To be blunt, if there's someone who makes women feel uncomfortable, they're never going to come back.
So you get a couple complaints and they're off the list.
Especially, so
You
know, I'm on one hand I'm having fun, on the other hand I'm watching like a ADHD hawk, which is something else we can talk about. You know, I have that sort of peripheral vision of social interaction, and I'm just scanning the room to make sure everyone's happy and everyone's comfortable. I'm scanning the room to make sure the stage is getting the attention it can get. As you alluded to, look, it's not a library, it's not a conference. It is a networking event. People are going to talk even when other people are talking on stage. I just try to keep a bounce there. I don't want to be too oppressive, but I want to have enough attention on the front. You know, you've dealt with this yourself. Yeah. It's just I'm doing a constant vibe control. Okay. You know, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And you know, and how is it so consistent? It's not always easy, but I think it's hard to be consistent when you're in a vacuum. But when you have a team, it's a lot easier. And when you have a social expectation that you do something, it's a lot easier. And my ego is either strong enough or insecure enough that I can't stop because I don't want people to see me stopping. So even if I'm like, oh gosh, I'm tired, you know, I feel there's to do it. Plus, I know what we're building. We're going to a whole multi-city model, which we can talk about. Okay. And I know the value it brings, and people have it, like it. And to be honest, I enjoy it. It is fun. It is a lot of fun.
It looks like fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
And so you're super proud. You're like 42 in a row.
Yeah.
And why can't you take a week off?
Well, I'll tell you, the day my son was born, the day Joseph popped out of arena to make it like it was actually a beautiful experience, but I mean, just being casual about it. He came out. I made sure he was okay.
What the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals, and that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week, and for me, that was huge because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best and hope you come join us.
I made sure she was okay. I got the hall pass. I Ubered over to Tech Tuesdays, ran the stage for all of an hour. I said, my son was just born, but I'm here to show I'm serious. Nice. Made sure everyone was good. Luckily, Mohammed Siam and my friend Rick took over, and I went back to the hospital, and it was good. There's only been 2 Tuesdays we haven't done it. One of them, we had an iftar that week, so we had an alternative event, and the other one was New Year's Eve. And for some reason, people didn't want to do New Year's Eve at Tech Tuesdays.
You were ready to do it.
I was ready to do it. We actually had the venue.
Amazing.
But it was like, Gordon, just relax for a week. I'm like, okay. But, you know, and we do it during the summer when things normally die out. But, you know, a lot of people, Dubai, especially in the crypto world, is famous, unfortunately, for rug pulls. People talk big. They build up a community. They look like they're serious. They have a team that looks like they're serious. And then they get bored, or they run away with the Ethereum, or something happens, they have their own little drama, and then you're like, what the hell happened there? What happened to my coin? Now the whole team is like run away with the deposit. Or what happened to this event? They go to number 8 and then they wait for 3 months before number 9 or something. It's like, nice weekly event you got there. So, that happens a lot here. But, I think once you're consistent, let me put it this way, Dubai is great, but Dubai is a low trust environment for a variety of reasons. Because people come and go, and there's people are fast talkers and don't necessarily deliver. Imagine creating a high trust bubble in a low trust environment. Once people see that, they love it. And consistency in doing what you say you're going to do, being a man of your word, creates trust. And when they see this happening every week, it creates trust. And when people can see each other every week and get to know each other, it creates trust. And then you get business done. There's a lot of money being made in that room.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, and I've started to build up trust with a lot of people there because I've seen them now 3-4 times. And so first time you connect, but then you don't really send a message afterwards. The next time you have a little more of a conversation, and then you're meeting up, and it's the thing. But only an American would do this every week in a row to an obsessive way. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, I am German also.
Okay.
So maybe a German would. And
maybe.
And I mentioned before casually, but just to be clear, with the ADHD thing, one of the compensatory things for ADHD is being a little bit OCD, being a little bit overly structured. So I have controlled chaos. I structure is good. So if I know this is, if it was once a week but I didn't know what day, we wouldn't be doing it. But it's Tech Tuesdays. I locked myself in. If it doesn't happen on Tuesday, everyone knows it didn't happen. And everyone's staring and asking what happened. So I built the structure around me that supports accomplishing the goal. And again, my wife is fantastic, and she has her women's community that comes. Mohammed Siam is fantastic. He's got the local connections, the government connections, and he's integrated with the society. I mean, when you think about it, we're 3 very different people.
Yeah.
Very different.
Talk to me about the relationship with Mohammed Siam, because
Sure.
I had met him separately at Blockchain Life and had a really good vibe with him. And then I saw him later when I came to speak at your event. And then I was like, wow, this is unique to have that Emirati partner with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not typical.
It's an interesting situation here. It used to be before I came here that in order to run a business here, you needed an Emirati partner. It was a legal requirement.
I remember.
And they would kind of, you can call it rent-seeking behavior or whatever. They would kind of, put their name on the license, sit back and let you work. For the honor of paying them, for better or for worse. The wise leadership of this country, and I'm not just saying that to be nice, they are wise, said this is archaic, what are we doing? It's the 21st century, enough of that. And so you can have full control of your businesses and everything else. Now, we are in the Middle East, we are in the UAE, it is a Muslim country, it is a country with a strong sense of tribe, clan, and religion. Okay, and if you don't need to have a local partner, and I certainly wouldn't do it just for kicks, but if you meet a local person that you like and you respect and they bring value to the table, you'd be foolish not to engage. It helps. It's just like, it's like going to China and not speaking Chinese or not being friends with any Chinese people. I mean, you can live in your little bubble, but if you really want to get in there deep, you got to kind of cross some bridges and get work with it. And he's just a very cool guy. He's got his own AI company. He did some hacking as a very young kid, and the police found him, and rather than punish him, they adopted him, and so he got his government connections. He has a great bunch of interviews, and he talks about it at length. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah. And
I could have started this by myself. It was initially my idea, but why? It's like I'm not. It's not the Gordon show. It's Tech Tuesdays, and I wanted to work with other people. Mohammed Siam is a great partner in this and other things. My wife is a great partner. Rick Gotts, who and I think you are interviewing each other one way or another.
Yes.
He's a great friend, and he's very busy, but he contributes a lot. We have a whole ecosystem. So, I'm happy to work with Mohammed Siam.
Yeah, Mohammed's there, I think, every week. I've seen him every time.
No, he is a partner in Tech Tuesdays. He's very good, and he adds a lot of value.
And that says a lot when you're there every week.
Yes.
When you show up.
Oh, yeah.
And I met a lot of locals that I'm guessing came through him or because of him, or maybe they just came. But yeah, it's
well, it's social proof, because there is a divide between the communities here. Okay, there's the expatriate community, the local community, and then there's the thin membrane of people who cross. And you see the same faces at all these events. It's the Emiratis who work with the expatriates or like that environment.
Yeah.
And then you got the few expatriates who kind of slightly cross over into that world. But it's a little bit impenetrable. Okay, you know, it depends where you are culturally and religion-wise and everything else, but it's a little bit impenetrable. What's unique about our event, and I kind of want to take it up a few notches over time, is that you do have a blend between the expatriate community and the local community to a certain extent. That's why we have the decorum at the event. Because, you know, to have Emiratis, and especially Emirati women show up, it's got to be a proper event. It can't be shady in any respect. It has to be very respectful, structured, good people, dressed nicely, behave nicely, nice venue, everything else. Then they feel comfortable showing up, and you know, then they see other people like themselves, and you get social proof, and then it grows. So I'm tending this garden with extreme care and awareness. And as we expand Abu Dhabi, and then Qatar, and then Bahrain, and then Saudi, we're going to be maintaining that conservative Middle Eastern vibe, which actually I like. I don't have a problem with. You know, I'm from licentious California, and I feel more at home here. And you know, you can have your fun here, obviously, you know, it's Dubai, but I kind of like that conservative family vibe, and that resonates with the local culture, and I'm good with it.
Well, let's talk about that, because this is a long way from where you were
Sure.
in 2020 in Los Angeles. A completely different culture and completely different vibe. And a lot of people watching us or listening to us right now are going to be in the United States or Canada. And, you know, for my dad who lives in San Diego, California, when I keep telling him to visit me, you know, he's in his 80s, he's like, I can't go over there, it's the war zone. And I'm like, no, Dad.
My mom is here, and she's in her 80s. She's here right now. So
Right.
I want you to go tell your dad
I
that
know.
Gordon's mom is here.
I guess my point is they have a completely opposite perception of what it feels like to be here. And like you just described a little bit of a feeling and how you feel here. I know before you've said a little bit like this place is like a really nice hotel where you come in and it's got these beautiful things set up, and if you follow the rules, then you can come back again. And that was an interesting way of describing a place as opposed to comparing it to a city in the U.S.
You saw that interview.
What's that?
You saw that interview.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so how would you describe how you feel here, and how would you describe Dubai or the Emirates to people outside of here, maybe Americans who've never been here and maybe have misconceptions about it, or think it's this or that, or it's a monarchy and it's oppressive and we have our freedoms and they don't? How do you describe it?
Well, it is a monarchy. I mean, let's be truthful, right? Okay, so what is Dubai for me? Okay, what it is for me may not be what the same thing it is for a Bangladeshi laborer on a building, or for an Emirati, or for a woman, or for this or for that. What is it for me? Okay, you know, as an American-German lawyer who's into crypto and blockchain, it's fantastic. All right, the way I described it variously is it's a very high-level hotel, if you like. It's a residence hotel. Okay, you're not necessarily going to stay your whole life here. They don't necessarily want you to stay your whole life here, though that may be changing a little bit. But you can come here and accomplish great things. It is not an oppressive system. You have a lot of personal freedom. Okay, there's political freedom, there's freedom of expression, there's personal freedom. And you know, nowhere is all this way, and maybe some of the personal freedom comes, you know, because you don't have necessarily this other stuff. Everything's in a balance. And you know, people said, "Oh, Gordon, you're so blunt on these interviews." It's like I think I'm just being fair. What freedoms matter to me? Okay, I'm 55 years old. Okay, I have a wife. I have a 3-month-old son. Okay, what freedoms matter to me? The freedom to walk down the street without getting stabbed. That's a big freedom. Okay, if I was a watch guy, and I'm kind of slowly becoming a watch guy, the freedom to walk down the street without my watch being taken or my iPhone being stolen on some bike. That's a freedom. Yeah. Okay, for the non-Americans out there, the freedom to not be taxed to death. Not to work like a slave and then have your money inflated away on one side and then taxed away on the other side, and then, you know, what the heck happened? You know, there's within certain bounds, there's good freedom of expression, and the freedom of expression that isn't allowed, I actually don't have a problem with. Like, you're not allowed to insult other races or religions or anything like that. They have, I think, you know, I talked to someone recently. They have 156 countries cohabitating here peacefully. You know, that's either a recipe for a disaster or that's a recipe for something awesome. You actually have, unlike in the United States, diversity works here. Okay, but there is a structure within which that diversity exists. You know, and that structure has rules. You know, it's like we're in the Matrix, okay? And the Matrix has rules, and you can either master the rules and become Neo, or you can resist it and have a problem. Okay, and if you don't like it, you can leave. Yeah. You know, I mean, barring something extreme, no one's making me stay here. I can go. If I don't like it, I'll leave. Maybe one day I will, but I like it. They don't they're, if you want to talk about law of attraction, they are strong believers in law of attraction. Okay, no one's forced to come here. You're choosing to come here. And if you choose to come here, just like if you choose to come to someone else's house, you respect the rules of their house. If they say, this is the private library, don't go in there. Okay, fine, have fun. Okay, you're making me dinner, you're, have a nice comfy bed, whatever, and I can go. If I hear something terrible, then that's a different situation. But it's not like that. People get this weird, I look at the Western media, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm not an apologist for some things that some people might have an issue with, but the Western media presents an incomplete view that when you're having the lived experience here, it's not actually like that. Okay, and you need to come here and you need to experience it, and then you need to talk to people and you can judge for yourself whether it's good. It is safe. You have a great deal of expression. It is not like 15 years ago where if you kissed your wife or girlfriend on the beach, the morals police are going to come and get you. I think there was like 20 years ago, some British couple was acting inappropriately on the beach, like really overdoing it.
Yeah, and then Al Arab, I remember. It was a British couple.
Yeah, but that was 20 years ago. Okay, it's the decorum. It's like Tech Tuesdays. There's a level of decorum. If you don't like it, don't come.
Yeah, I've fallen in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's like I think it's okay that maybe people shouldn't be, making out in public. I like it when I go to the beach and if I'm walking on the boardwalk, guys like put your T-shirt on. I'm like, okay. I like it that I
He's
don't.
He's just jealous of you.
Yeah.
He's just jealous of your build.
I also like it that just like I don't see strip clubs and I don't see sex shops and like I don't see drunken footballers like I see in London. It's like I don't need to see that, and I know they have the freedom to do that, but it's like I also like the fact that that's not here, and it just makes for a really peaceful place for me to be, and I think that's also really nice. And like you said, it's like visiting someone's house. It's like, oh, you could say, well, I just visited your mom's house and I have the right to tell her that her cooking sucks and her place is bad and I hate her political beliefs. Okay, is that freedom? Maybe. But if I'm in someone's house and I'm a guest there, then I'm not going to do that, and nobody would. And so, that's
well, some people would.
Well, some people would.
So, actually, some people would. They're doing something. I mean, I'll get political. You can always shut me up. But in the U.S., people are doing that. People are coming in there on student visas and everything else and telling them that their mother's cooking sucks.
Right, because they're exercising their freedom of speech. Yeah.
Yeah, and actively interfering with others' freedom of speech. And, look, whatever I stand on politically, I generally want people to express their points of view. But when those, it's the usual thing, your rights stop at the tip of my nose. People are getting past the nose in the U.S. and interfering with other people's freedoms.
I agree.
So, where's freedom? Here I have the freedom to practice my religion, to engage in commerce, to make friends of every nationality and every belief system. I have freedom to do these events. I have the freedom to go. I have the freedom to come. It's a lot of, one can call it civil freedoms.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
Okay, and is there a dark side? I think so. You don't want to get on the wrong side of the police. You don't want to get the wrong side of the Emiratis. You don't want to talk trash, but again, if you don't like it, go. If you want to be critical of the UAE, do it from Germany. Okay, but if you're living here, play by the rules. Okay, and the rules are not draconian. The rules are great. I mean, here we are having a good conversation in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're talking about my Emirati partner, and it's like, it is good here. And also, I mean, Andrew Tate, God bless him. I've never met him. I feel like I will one of these days because we're kind of in the quasi same circles. Just like I eventually meet everyone. Cole, take it as a compliment. But his point was, if you create an environment where people feel safe with their stuff, they're going to come here with their stuff and they're going to make more stuff. Okay, you got countries where people don't feel safe with their stuff. Their stuff can be their physical stuff, their mental peace of mind, or their family stuff. And if you want them to have it and make more of it, you got to create an environment where it's secure. And they're secure from the government and secure from the people. And they're doing a great job here.
The other thing I don't miss about London is being involved in all the politics and all the he said, she said, and it's now become our form of entertainment in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. There's none of that here. I remember I sat down with Dr. Marwan and Emirati.
He's an interesting guy.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
And he's the reason I'm really here. Because he made my golden visa. So just because of who I was, it's another reason I love this place, because they really go out of their way to bring talent in. And the UK didn't do that for me.
No.
But Marwan once said, he's like, we want people to be able to get up here in the morning and work on their business and work on their family. And there's not the headlines. You don't have to worry about this. There's not all this. There's not all this drama. There's not all this other stuff. And I must say, I don't miss hearing what the Tories said about the Conservatives. It's nice to tune that out. And now I just can focus on the things that are important to me.
Yeah, it's a how do I say it? It's a planned development, if you want to use a U.S. term. Yeah. So trees can't grow to a certain height. Okay, I don't care. I'm not gardening anyway. I'll also say there's different kinds of politics. We're gonna go on a little tangent if you don't mind, but I'm a big believer in winning through results and winning through action and not through language. With Tech Tuesdays, it's like you can't argue with 42 times. You can't argue with what a full house is when we pan the camera around and it really is a full house. You can't argue with the way the people look. And I'm creating actual facts, and facts win. And how do you create facts? You can't BS your way to a fact. You have to create action. Okay, now you can negotiate and use language to coordinate your parties and your groups, but there is a form of politics, the politics of the deed. Okay, the politics, which what I think you might find distasteful, and I do too in the U.S., is the verbal nature of the politics, yet it's lacking substance and reality and actual impact. They said this, they said this. Okay, that was witty, but what did it actually change in the universe other than a bunch of oxygen atoms moving around? I love creating facts on the ground and winning, or and it's not just me winning, having my group win or humanity win through those actions. And I always say Dubai is for doers. Okay, you can engage in the politics of the deed. You can build that new research facility that is going to let everyone live longer. You can build that new ethical AI. You can do those experiments that will help people live longer with stem cells and everything else. You can really impact the world. You just need to change your mentality. It's almost, dare I say, a little Chinese. Like, they get stuff done. They get stuff. It's a little scary how they get stuff done. They get stuff done fast and at speed. And you can do that in a slightly more microcosm way in Dubai. And so I'd encourage people to take that point of view. And just, I was in Los Angeles. It was 2020. COVID was happening. Various lives were mattering on the streets, and that was not safe. So I came over here at a friend's invitation, and I saw the contrast. And I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles. I had a little stint in Washington. My dad was in the military, so I was in Falls Church for a while near the Pentagon. But Los Angeles, it has its great parts, and it's nice to visit. And don't get me wrong, you can have a good life in Los Angeles, but it is not on the right trajectory. Okay, Dubai and the Middle East and all these other ways are on the right path. So I saw the contrast when I came out here, thanks to a friend, and I saw crypto was happening, and it was great. And I flew back and had to wrap up some personal stuff, and then came out here and never looked back.
That's a crazy trajectory. I mean, if you had told yourself in 19 that you were going to move to the Middle East for the rest of, not for a big chunk of your life.
It was, look, I thought, and it still may happen in some form, I thought I was going to either end up in Ukraine, because I really like Ukraine, and I've been there 25 times, and that's actually the reason I'm in blockchain and crypto. Or I thought, and this may still happen, some variant of this, end up, whatever that means, in Switzerland. Just because I like their kind of attitude. I did not see Dubai coming. Okay, and it shocked me. But again, I was in that circumstance in Los Angeles. It was COVID. And this is the draconian, crazy California lockdown of COVID. And thank God I got that invitation. That invitation changed the course of my life. nice friend, but not like a really close friend, but just a medium level acquaintance inviting me out. And it's like, boom, little things can change a lot. You're smart, by the way. I'll break the fourth wall, but you have this pre-interview form that people fill out, and one of them is like, what's your aha moment? My aha moment was coming to Dubai. And at that moment there was not much traffic. That one they fooled me. Okay, but the aha moment was the places were open. They were doing crypto. People were nice. A lot of good-looking people here. A lot of opportunity. And it's like, aha, this is what it can be. Okay, nice.
It's like a hustler's paradise for me.
Yeah.
And it's also got...
It's a builder's paradise.
Yeah, maybe that's it, builder's paradise. And then it's also got amazing weather and beaches and all that, but you can also work hard, and everyone else is as well.
Yes.
And that's a rare combination.
It's a meritocracy on steroids. So you can either come here to have a good time, and God bless you if you do. And a lot of people first come here to have a good time. But if this is a meritocracy, and it flushes out the people who don't have the merit eventually. But it's like I was saying, if you're consistent about delivering results, you'll get noticed. And you don't have to be Muslim, you don't have to be Arab, you don't have to, it's okay. They're open-minded here, okay? And you'll just build the relationship slowly, and then things happen, and you start adding value, and it can happen. So, the Hustlers thing is like, it's another Andrew Tateism, right? Hustlers University and all that stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
But he's not really a hustler. He's built businesses. He works out. He did kickboxing. Kickboxing is the opposite of hustling. Right, you have to train. You're a martial artist, and you're doing your boxing thing. It's not a one-time. Oh, I won. He didn't roll the dice. He didn't lie to anyone. Like nothing is more real than getting in a fight, right? And having to train for it, because then all the words mean nothing. Then it's just the physical reality of it. So this is a builder's paradise. You build yourself, and you build your business, and you build your relationships, and you get to keep a good chunk of what you build.
What does this place look like in 10 years? Do you think? And on that same note, what does Tech Tuesdays look like in 10 years? You mentioned the expansion.
Oh, I love how you integrate those two. It's very hard to know what the world is going to look like in 10 years with the political situation right now, and with AI and a bunch of other things. That being said, like China, like some other countries, they do have a plan. Okay, the U.S., the plan changes every 10 seconds because you never even know who's in charge, or many people, or no one's in charge. Here, it will get more green. Okay, it will get more populated. It will get more expensive. It will face enhanced competition from Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia, in some way, is becoming a big Dubai. They're behind, but they're massive, and they have massive money.
And a big population.
Yeah, and a big population.
38 million.
Right, which, in American terms, is like 10%, but, in local terms, it's big.
Yeah.
And they have physical space. So Dubai was always, and UAE was always sort of an outlier economy, like an entree port to access the bigger GCC, the more liberal place, the place that you want to live and raise your family, and then, or Abu Dhabi, and then you go to Saudi for 3 days to do some business. Saudi is not a big Dubai yet, but as it loosens up, as opportunity grows there, as everything else, Dubai is going to have to hustle.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you.